So what's popping today?
Your role model, Andrew Tate, is what's popping. And it doesn't look like good news. Well, the Romanian police have seized 11 luxury cars from Andrew Tate and his brother after they were arrested on charges of sex trafficking.
11. I thought he has 30 cars.
Yes, well, they have taken 11 so that they can use it to fund their investigations and use the money.
Wait. To fund the investigations?
Yes, to fund the investigations against him and his brother, and also to, to give the money that remains to the victims.
Just hold on one second. But it makes no sense. I think because ideally, what would make sense is for evidence to be gathered, then presented in a court for trial, and then perhaps they're found guilty of the crimes, and then they're also made to compensate the victims. You cannot appropriate a suspect's assets to fund your investigation. Like, nowhere does that ever happen.
Well, it happens in Romania. Well, the cars were taken in the wake of their arrest that happened on the 29th of December on allegations of human trafficking and exploiting women to produce porn. So a spokesperson of the Romania's investigations agency confirmed the seizure of the cars. And she went on to say that they will be held to sustain the cost of the investigation into Andrew Tate and his younger brother. His older brother. Is he younger? Is he older? I keep forgetting. Okay, he and his other criminal brother. Yes, he and Tristan. And that they would
criminal brother. They're suspects. But anyway, okay. So they're investigating them.
And that they would also be collateral to fund any payments towards their alleged victims.
No, see, but that's the thing. Like, it just, here's the thing, and this is how you know you're a principled person, that just because you perhaps have animosity towards a person, that you hate someone, that you still don't strip them of their rights. This is wrong. You cannot appropriate the assets of a suspect before they've been found guilty. If they've been found guilty, yes. In the same way, when, someone takes you to court, and then maybe after the case is concluded, then maybe you can compensate someone. You cannot be made to pay for the investigation that they're investigating. Do you know what I mean? You cannot pay for them to investigate you. It just, to me, makes no sense. And if, as you say, that's the kind of country Romania is, then we do have a problem on our hands.
Well, Romania is also a country where Andrew Tate said it's a lot easier to exploit women, and because also the age of consent is a lot younger, and that is why he took his porn business there. So, Fatboy,
I would say this.
I don't think we can, because everything you're trying to say probably makes sense according to Ugandan law, or maybe the laws around, other countries that you have been in. But in Romania, I think they just, act differently from the way we do.
It just makes no sense, because think of it this way. You know how, like, in the US, they can seize drugs from a drug deal gone wrong, a drug bust, or they'll raid a drug dealer's office and seize all these cocaine. Do they sell? Do you know what I mean? They don't sell that stuff. They either
it's kept in storage.
It's kept in storage. If they raid,
it doesn't make sense to me. Why keep it in storage, especially if you have concluded the investigation? Why are you keeping it there? Why not just dispose of it?
Maybe after the investigation is concluded, but while it's going on, I mean, at best, it's still evidence to be used against the suspect. And at worst, I mean, nonetheless, it's still their property until and unless they're found guilty. Now, if they are found guilty, I mean, that's a separate thing. And by the way, just so you know, even though I would count myself as a fan of Andrew Tate, if they're found guilty of the crimes they're being accused, then, that's that. They'll have to pay the price.
Yes.
I do have my own suspicions about the underlying facts of the case as
what
being
suspicions
alleged.
Are those?
Basically, the issue of the trafficking aspect.
You don't believe that he traffics people?
It all depends on how you define trafficking.
Oh, wow, Fatboy. Wow, okay. Please, okay, how would you define trafficking?
That's what I'm saying. It's like different people have different definitions. So, for example, if in one of the, I think I saw one of the documents translated from the police report saying that he would get girls to fall in love with him and then get them to make these pornographic videos. Now, to me, for some people, that language implies trafficking of some sort, and perhaps there's room to charge them in that regard. But I don't know that I would be quick to accept that definition, and so that is why I'm also just waiting for the facts of the case to emerge and to see if there'll be...
So you don't see anything wrong with him luring women into doing porn or forcing them into doing porn?
No.
You don't see anything wrong with
not
that
if,
statement,
consent.
Fatboy.
No, absolutely not. Not if consent was obtained and they are of legal
Fatboy,
age.
do you honestly think that anybody who goes... Do you honestly think that people always have to say yes to do something?
Yes.
When you make someone afraid to say no, that is not consent, Fatboy.
Well,
it's just like how the police sometimes
it depends.
may arrest people and then force them to make, to come out and agree to saying that they committed a crime. Doesn't mean that they consented to it. They were forced and pushed into it. They were not given an option to say no.
It depends on how the consent was obtained. If a gun was put to their by the way, these things matter.
No.
If a gun was put to their heads, if there was a threat of violence against their person, in order to obtain that consent, there you can say, okay.
There's also manipulation. There's also intimidation.
I don't buy that.
Yes, there is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And a lot of people who say they don't buy into manipulation are the manipulators. They are the narcissists and they are the evil people. You think that the devil comes looking like a freaking devil? The devil comes looking like a handsome face. And then they convince you and then get you into doing things that you do not want to do.
And this is why
that is not right.
It is. Let me tell you something. And this is a very slippery slope. Essentially, you can't be selective about when you want to award someone the right to have agency. Agency means the ability to make a decision for yourself, good or bad. Listen, do you understand the definition of agency?
I do understand that, and I know what it implies.
You know
but
what it means,
you're trying to say is that consent is one straight rod. Or people just go on to do things knowing that they're doing things. You are here sitting and dismissing the power of manipulation.
I am.
The power.
100%.
You because you're probably a manipulator.
100%.
You're probably a manipulator yourself.
I absolutely
so you go on
reject
and you use
manipulation.
reverse psychology on people and you trick them into doing things and you say, no, but you did not say no. Are you serious right now?
Yes, 100%. And the reason I am is because I do not want to strip a person of their agency. It is to infantilize them. If I say to you, hey, honey, if you love me, why don't you strip naked and, pose for this porn channel?
Emotional blackmail.
You know what I mean?
And that is manipulation.
If she agrees to do it, but it works both ways. Why is it that all the things that men are made to do, that women so-called manipulate men into doing, we usually still hold the man accountable for that?
This is what I'm saying. Again, you're making...
And so I'm extending to women the same courtesy.
No, exactly. And this is what I'm saying. Whether a man or a woman does it, it is wrong. You're trying to turn this into...
Whether a man or a woman does
whether it's a man, whether it's a woman...
is responsible.
Whether you're a man or a woman, it is wrong. Don't turn this into some gender war by saying, oh, it's okay when women do it. It's not okay when men do it. Anybody who does it is wrong.
That's usually the context in which the word manipulation is invoked.
It is wrong. You cannot say, if you love me and you don't do this, that means you don't love me. That is manipulation. That is emotional blackmail.
It may be manipulation, but you're still responsible for any decision.
You have manipulated that person into doing that.
You are responsible.
You are coercing that person into doing
Coercion and manipulation is different.
No, let us stop.
Coercion is if you don't do this, I'll harm you.
It's the same thing because you're not giving them the option of
manipulation is if you don't
no.
do this, you will hurt my feelings. That's manipulation.
Thank you. That is manipulation, and I bet Andrew Tate was doing that.
But even if you are
making
compelled,
them fall in love with him and then making
even
them,
if you are compelled, even if you were compelled to do it by manipulation, you are still solely responsible for that action.
No.
100%.
The perpetrator has to take responsibility
100%.
for being a conniving, evil person, and it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, and I stand on that. So let us not even beat about the bush. But anyway, the police spokesperson went on to say that they could not confirm immediately which cars, which makes and models of the cars had been confiscated. However, a publication in Romania went on to say that there was a Rolls-Royce Wraith, one of the cars, and there was also an Aston Martin.
Bugatti.
No, there's no Bugatti, but they did confirm a Rolls-Royce Wraith, and an Aston Martin Vanish S Ultimate, and they costed these cars to be approximately $300,000 each.
Do you know Andrew Tate's problem?
What is that?
Aside from the problems which you have with him, is that
you mean sex trafficking?
Is that
okay?
The guy just doesn't understand the concept of staying low. Like, it's one thing to do business in a shady way, and I think it's difficult to operate in the world without occasionally being shady here and there. I don't think there's any business that is like transparently clean and straightforward. Name your Fortune 500 company, name your, do you know what I mean? Doesn't matter if it's on Wall Street, whether it's whatever. There'll always be things that certain business entities do that may not be entirely okay, may not be illegal, but may not be entirely okay or questionable at best. Most companies keep quiet about those things.
Yeah.
This guy brags about those things and how he gets away with it.
Yeah, that's small.
Do you know what I mean?
That is small D energy, like what Greta Thunberg wanted to say. And you know what's crazy? After he got arrested because he was going on this whole back and forth with her about saying global warming is a scam. So when he got arrested, she went on and said, you see, that's what happens when you don't recycle your pizza boxes. And guess what? 11 of those 13 cars that he was bragging about having huge emissions have been confiscated and are now funding this investigation and are going to be used to compensate his victims.
This is not fair. So wait. So what happens if they're found innocent? Let's just say, for the sake of argument, what if they're found innocent and they've already sold the cars to fund the investigation? Do they get refunds?
Maybe they'll get a compensation in one way or the other. But anyway, the police department is also investigating to establish if the cars he bought were purchased from his human trafficking, like he used money from his human trafficking stuff. And if that is the case, then he's going to even be in bigger trouble.
You know, I wonder about the whole business of the webcam thing, because I don't know, because if it's porn, it's like, how do people even make money on porn unless you're like on OnlyFans? Porn is free, it's cheap, anyone can access it. It's on the internet, it's all over the place. Porn?
How would you know, Fatboy?
Because I do research. I mean, just Google, just pick your sexual fetish, Google it, and links will pop up to websites where there's videos for those things. Do you know what I mean? Freely available.
You know, one reason why I don't go through people's phones without their permission is because you don't want to have to stumble on unclosed browsers. That happened one time with a colleague of mine in a place I used to work. And she was this sweet, you know, very like baby face, very
like
soft-spoken and nice. Like me.
And
I
then?
thought she, you know, but then I stumbled on this unclosed browser. And to this day, I have never looked at her the same way. I'm like,
what was showing? BBD.
I can't
Was it BBD?
I can't say.
Anyway,
I was
look,
like,
we're all
what?
human beings, and we shouldn't feel shy to admit that, you know, people
like
have
some freaky
their
things.
tastes.
Okay, our tastes are different, yeah.
Although, you know, the government of Uganda, or rather the UCC, blocked access to many of the major sites.
That's what they thought.
That's what they thought. But anyway, so to Mr. Andrew Tate, oh, he's gonna miss those cars, isn't he? He loved those cars.
He loved those cars. Oh, and another thing, he had been initially arrested for, you know, been held for 24 hours, and he was hoping to get like a bond or bail, but the court threw that out, and now he's going to be sitting in there for the next 30 days. In jail.
Also his fault.
In prison.
Also
for the
his
next
fault.
30
You know
days,
why?
yeah.
This guy has videos where he's bragging about how he has 7 different passports. And in the video, he's like, yeah, so if one country bans me, I can go to the other one. If I get a problem in this country, I can go to... So it's like, it was a no-brainer. Of course, they were going to strip him of all of his passports.
And, yeah, exactly.
and also make it hard for him to leave the country. So that's why he's been held in remand. Because of his own admission, he's a flight risk.
Exactly. Did you also see the video where he was like at a Swedish bank, was it like in Sweden, and they refused to take his money?
Yeah, I didn't see that.
You didn't see that one? Well, he was like at a Swedish bank and they refused to take his money, and he had like a huge
briefcase
bag, of money, and he wanted to like open an account there. So he would basically say they refused to take his money because they cannot trace the source of his money. Like where is it coming from though? Yeah.
Like, dude, why didn't you call the bank first before going there? Like, hey, can I speak to the manager? I'm coming with a bag of $10 million. Will you help me open an account? Then at that point, they could have told him, oh, sorry, we don't accept that. But also...
You have to explain where your wealth is coming from. I think that is what the bank wanted.
And you're saying he posted that video?
He posted it on the...
He did. Because now he's essentially admitting to money laundering. Because that's what money laundering is being able to move money around without having a clear source of where it came from, and outside of the taxation sort of, do you know what I mean? All that stuff. So, man, I feel like he's sometimes his own worst enemy.
You see, Fatboy, find better role models.
No, like, I speak truth to power on all the issues that are affecting the world. But if you're going to do shady business, just shut up about it. Don't use it as a point, to brag about, because you're essentially opening up yourself to scrutiny. And in this case, you've given your enemies all the ammunition they need to go after you.
Exactly. He's not as smart as he thinks he is.
Or
I just
he's
had
a
to
bit
throw
too...
that there. just for just.
Well, he could have made better choices, that's for sure.
Exactly. Come 2023, let's make better choices than Andrew Tate. Okay?